Alright, now that I got that set up on the computer, I can pay attention. What's up, Crown? What's up, Keith? As you see in the title, I'm just giving everybody a heads up. If we're talking about Spider-Man, there's gonna be spoilers to the movie. Because I've seen it twice already, and it's... I am surprised. I'm amazed. And that's not hard for me to... That's hard for me to be for a superhero movie. You know? But I don't know where to begin, you know, where to talk about this. I mean, it also requires people to have watched all the other Spider-Man movies, at least, to have some base understanding to what goes on in the movie. Are you trying to get over a cold? Everybody in my house, everybody here in my dad's house is. So, yeah, I know it sucks because of the weather right now. That's the shit. Alright, here we go. So yeah, and spoiler warning, that suit you see he wears right there, he gets that suit in the movie. Which I am impressed with. And I like how it just switched right to my Far From Home suit. / No Way Home, because that suit takes place in, this suit's in there too. But yeah. Anyway, if you're here for the spoilers or for me to talk about Spider-Man, and again, I want to let you know, because I'm going to go over a majority of the film. It picks up right where the end of Spider-Man Far From Home ends, where Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, let out the identity of Spider-Man. You know, now the world knows who Peter Parker is. And there's a lot of serious repercussions that happens for his identity being out there. Even though it's not as severe as you might think, he gets out of the trouble pretty quickly with the law. Because, spoiler, Netflix's Daredevil, Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox, is his lawyer. And the funniest shit is that supporters of Mysterio threw a brick into Spider-Man's window, and Daredevil caught it before it even hit him. And I love that joke where they're like, wait, how'd you do that? And he's like, I'm just a very good lawyer, Peter. I mean, oh god, that shit was so hilarious. You know, Spider-Man, like at least Tom Holland's Spider-Man, he grows on you a lot in this film. And it's, you know, directly... Since it does directly take place after the end of the last movie, this movie concludes the let's just call it the Homecoming trilogy. This trilogy completes Spider-Man's full return into not only live action but officially being part in the MCU, because I know a lot of people, and I remember they were trying to do this. Originally it was going to be Andrew's Spider-Man that was going to be weaved into like the Avengers, because I remember back in 2012 when they were trying to make Amazing Spider-Man, they were going to have the Avengers Tower built as an Easter egg to show that, oh, he exists in that universe. But it feels like no matter which Spider-Man you choose, they fit in the MCU. You know, they each got their own vibes and their own heart to them. See, the message in this film, like every Spider-Man film has a message, and it's been a while since we got like a clear message of what the movie's trying to tell you in terms of, you know, superheroism. And Aunt May here, for example, the young Aunt May played by Marissa Tomei in these 3 movies and in these side stories that we've seen, because remember, she was introduced with Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War. Now, the part that had me was her actions in this movie feel like, if you remember the original Aunt May from the Tobey Maguire universe, how she was, that Aunt May is an elderly woman, she, you know, does things you expect for her age, especially when it comes to people. That Aunt May, like that essence of the old Aunt May, is shown more in this young Aunt May. It's like she is now like the aunt we know. Isn't She-Hulk a lawyer too? I don't know a lot about She-Hulk. I don't really know a lot. I can admit that. So, speaking of which, so Spider-Man's spell, see the spell that Spider-Man botches in the film when he wants everybody to forget, there was like, you noticed that there's a couple of hiccups that he himself caused. It's like Doctor Strange could have, you know, if Spider-Man would have just laid down the line who he wanted to have know he was Spider-Man and Peter Parker at the same time. He was telling it during the spell, which reversed the spell. See, the whole flaw with the spell was, instead of everybody losing their memory of Peter Parker being Spider-Man, it sent out a call across the multiverse to the villains that knew who Spider-Man and Peter Parker was. So it's like they know each variation could be a Peter Parker, they just don't know if it's their Peter Parker or not. You know? It's a lot of crazy shit that was going on in that movie. And it feels, believe it or not, the film also shares similar vibes to this video game right here, to the Spider-Man PS4. When Spider-Man and Peter Parker, when he finally lives on his own and he's living in the city, the apartment he lives in is a direct rip from the apartment in this game. And I feel like that's a great nod because we need more Spider-Man multiverse films. I mean, we really need a lot more multiverse Spider-Man films, because it shows. If you guys watch Loki, like, spoiler alert, when Sylvie kills the good variation of Kang the Conqueror, even though Doctor Strange says, "Oh yeah, I can send everybody back home," the multiverse gates are like broken. Even Kang said it when the good Kang dies. He basically, the floodgates to the other universes are open. But does Electro and Venom does not know? Well, the Venom don't. Venom does not. That's the thing. This Venom did not. Electro didn't either, but at first. But if people paid attention a little closely, he sees this new Peter Parker without his mask, and Aunt May called him Peter while they were in the apartment, and Electro was in the apartment with them. So he kind of could tell, okay, so if this kid is Peter Parker, that means my other Spider-Men are Peter Parker. It's, it's common sense to put two and two together. Venom is the only one per se that does not know the identity. But every other villain does know the identity. Like when the villains are introduced, I like that you hear their soundtracks. Their soundtracks play, and it's really cool that they weave it in. They especially weave in the Sam Raimi music for key moments when it involves Tobey's Spider-Man. Andrew, you hear his soundtrack. You hear Holland's, all merged into one, and it creates a unique sound, its own Spider-Man vibe, which shows that those those themes are separate. They're completely different from one another, and that's the truth. The same with each of the Spider-Men. Each one, though they are initially the same character, they're different. They're different Peters from each other. You have Maguire, who has, you could tell time has passed in his world. We could say that the canceled sequels for Spider-Man 4 and Amazing Spider-Man could have happened already, because you see these guys are older. They still have things about them that need a send-off. Like, oh, give me 1 second. I got a phone call.
On to the next one. Gotta find that server room before there's no evidence left. If I go in this way, they'll destroy.
Alright, there we go. My bad. I just had to answer that phone call. But yeah, and they do change, they do give a reason how, let's say, I do like they even went as far as to give you a subtle explanation on Electro's difference. Because a lot of people seem to hate his blue look, but yet what they don't realize is that one of his more popular iterations, aka the Ultimate Spider-Man Electro, is blue. That's him at full power. You know, I don't mind seeing yellow Electro. And they explained it well that when he was pulled into this universe, he basically feel that the lightning there was different, the electricity and power was different, so therefore it could warrant a color change. And that was cool. It showed, and it showed it in his energy, the original design. Like you kind of see that yellow lightning mask that he wears, but it's formed through the electricity on his face when he powers up. So that's a nice nod, because Marvel is not shy from letting these characters look like themselves. Yeah, they'll take liberties on appearances, but they'll only change it if necessary. You know? I actually really want to see now that if Daredevil... See, there's another thing. When the spell works, and then everybody does forget Peter Parker Spider-Man, they forgot Spider-Man is Peter Parker, but the world still knows that Spider-Man exists. They know there's a hero out there. You know, and that's a lot. That's like the weird part. How are they gonna reintroduce everyone's memories of him? And I get why he did it. And I know some people would say, well, you know, he could have just still stuck with it and used more of his powers, became famous, fixed his life, but that wasn't the point. It damaged the life of his friends, and now the woman, basically the girl he loves, because he still, I wouldn't say full-fledged woman, because they're meant to be portrayed as younger characters. So really, the girl he loves, he had to sacrifice that her knowing it for her safety, which makes him more of a hero than you realize. Because you notice in all the other Spider-Man movies, once the villain knows who the love interest is, or know who your identity is, it's a big problem. There's only some who have gotten redemptions. And the one person who got the redemption he deserved, and, you know, I can't believe I'm saying this, I love Tobey, and I do love Holland, but Andrew Garfield, he himself is his own Spider-Man. Why? This is how I view it, and how a lot of fans have viewed it over the years. If you look at the three, if you at least now look at the three, look at the three Spider-Men, look at the films they came from. Tobey Maguire's is based on the original The Amazing Spider-Man, though his movies were just called Spider-Man. But you could tell the story, the themes, and the plots were drawing heavily from his very original iteration. Then when you get to Andrew Garfield, it is very, and I mean very heavily based in the Ultimate Spider-Man universe, which was one of the first universes I really delved into. You know, it was Tobey Maguire that introduced me to the classic Spider-Man, where Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man gave me the motivation to be like, oh, okay, let me look into the Ultimate Verse and see what I like about it. And I like the Ultimate Verse. I even used to have the PS2 game, Ultimate Spider-Man. That's what Andrew's universe feels like. It feels like that PS2 game. Holland's was a very safe, down-to-earth Spider-Man because he always had help and backup, and I admit that. You know, he didn't hold anything on his own yet, but now where they're at with the story, where we have come to with him, Holland officially earned the role of being Peter Parker and Spider-Man together. He learned, and that's all it really takes. So by my understanding, they're already in pre-production for the next series of films, the next trilogy, which makes me wonder, is it going to be any college-related stuff? Is he going to try to have a job as a nod to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? And all this popularity between the characters is fans are telling Sony, give Garfield a send-off film as The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and give Maguire a Spider-Man 4. There's an audience for it. You know, they could capitalize and let them make this. I mean, at least Marvel can, because this was more so a Sony movie, believe it or not, than a Marvel movie. Marvel didn't do this movie. All they did was, you know, put the marketing behind it. But this was actually a Sony movie through and through, which is what surprised me. Because I know the Venom films are hit or miss with people. I personally love the Venom films because, you know, if you're going into Venom with a lot of high hopes for it to being class filmmaking, then that's a no-no. You're a dum-dum. I'm looking forward to Morbius. I'm looking forward to all these side interconnected films, because all these films are going to interconnect with Spider-Man in some way or another. And that is the important part, interconnection. Not only is the multiverse, you know, ripped open, you have villains already developing in this universe. Like, Doctor Strange, I heard the multiverse saga is not at an end. It was being developed slowly with WandaVision, Loki, you know, Spider-Man, and now Doctor Strange. And now I'm starting to get when Marvel said that before they do another big Avengers film, they're doing these little saga films in between. A Spider-Man saga, a Spider-Man multiverse saga, doesn't sound like a bad idea. Now, does it? It actually sounds like one of the better ideas to do, because then in the meantime, while we're waiting for another Holland film, we can always have a Spider-Man film. Hell, give Andrew a couple more movies and give Toby a couple more movies. Then give them one more crossover, and then they all have their send-off. That's one of the ways to do it. You know? Actually, this guy right here is the one I want to see in it. Believe it or not. I want to see Kingpin involved with future Spider-Man sequels. Now that Daredevil's introduced. Oh, great. He's going to try to block shit at me. Now, I was originally going to do a review, but the weird part is, for some reason, the file kept getting corrupted. So I just figured, why not just do a live stream talking about the movie. And Spider-Man No Way Home, in my opinion, is one of the better MCU films, and it really struggled with the first two. And I can admit, that's one thing I can admit as a Spider-Man fan, that No Way Home and Far From Home were still too safe and too close to the chest, knowing that Spider-Man is a character that could hold his own without the help of others. And that's what you most importantly get in this film. There are no Avengers to help him. He is truly on his own as a character, you know, dealing with these villains and learning what the hell what the hell the responsibility comes with. Now, these villains that they chose, again, if people don't know, this is not a Sinister Six movie. There's not even 6 members. There's only 5. There's Sandman, Lizard, Electro, Goblin, and Doc Ock. Now, if I can give a little prediction here, I can guess, if not guarantee you, that I could tell where these villains were pulled from their universes, because there's mention that they were in the middle of something with Spider-Man and they got pulled. Yeah, Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury is the ultimate Nick Fury. He's not the original. So you have a mix of both, and both ultimate, amazing, and the spectacular Spider-Man vibes in this. Now, people could say what they want. Believe it or not, I know people are like, finally they decided to do something different with Dafoe's Goblin armor. Am I the only one? Show of hands. I actually did like the Dafoe Goblin armor. Call me crazy. It was iconic in its own right. And say what you want, he might not have looked like a goblin with the mask or anything, but he was still freaking intimidating as hell. Willem Dafoe here, it's like he never left the role. Like, as if time had not passed. That's how good he remains. And I heard he said that he wanted to do all his own stunts. Goblin is the real bastard of the film, like always. He's the real villain. No matter where he is, there will be chaos. You know, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock gets his redemption. So it makes you wonder, when these villains turn to their universes, will their fates be the same, or will their fates have been different, like was implied here? Yeah, it's like, here's the thing. I don't think it matters what version of the character you use, as long as they tie into the story. Like, Nick Fury across all universes, whether he's white or black, does the same thing as Nick Fury. Get the Avengers, do espionage shit, do superheroing, you know, warring the Civil War, all the crazy events and shit, he does the same thing across the board. It's surprising he wasn't in this movie. He is a really good actor. Samuel Jackson is a really good actor. I'm surprised he was not in this film. But I'm glad for that. The only person that is outside, which I don't even think he counts himself as an Avenger, he just did his job, which was Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is the only really other person in here, and he's not even, him and Spider-Man are not really even seeing eye to eye on this shit. You know, they had a real cool fight sequence where I'm surprised Spider-Man actually wheeled way through the fight and he won. Barely, but he won because Strange was about to get him. See, the thing about Tom Holland's Spider-Man is he wants to redeem these villains. The only one who I think cannot be redeemed is the Goblin, because the Goblin has truly nothing to lose anymore. He doesn't have his son anymore. He doesn't have his company. He doesn't have anything. He could be truly chaotic. Basically, the Green Goblin is the Joker to Spider-Man. He's the Spider-Man's Joker, which is, you know, a good, actually, believe it or not, one of the best ways to view it. You know, and at the end of the day, I think that we will see these guys again. It's just when and where. You know, I really want an Infinity War and Endgame style Spider-Man film, like a two-parter. You set up something big, leave it off on a cliffhanger, and then we get to something huge. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There's a lot of the actors, like, and I didn't think, because throughout most of the movie, Ralph Fiennes was CG'd, because he was the actor who played the Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man. Topher Grace, I believe his name is. No, it's not Topher Grace. Oh, okay. Thomas Hayden Church. Thomas Hayden Church. That's his name. Thomas Hayden Church, again, returned as Sandman. These guys, I don't know if the de-aging technology finally got perfected, but it was seamless. The only one who didn't have de-aging was Norman Osborn, Willem Dafoe, but when you look at him side by side, he really didn't age either. He looks just the way he does back then. The same with Alfred Molina. So that CGI that they put on Alfred Molina really stole the looks. I was like, oh my god, he actually looks young. Like, he looks the way he did in 2000, I believe it's 2004. If Black Nick Fury meets White Nick Fury, well, why not? The multiverse is ripped open. There's a possibility that you can cast an actor. Who would you see as a White Nick Fury? He would have to be able to match to Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury, at least. You know, they have a different view on how they handle S.H.I.E.L.D., but for, like, different views but the same results. That's what I think they should do with Samuel Jackson and a White Nick Fury. Hell, believe it or not, I would actually think Josh Brolin could do a good White Nick Fury. He's got the voice. He doesn't need to just be Thanos and Cable. You know, it makes me also wonder in this universe, because now when you look at it, Tom Holland's Spider-Man reminds you a lot of this Spider-Man, the way he grows. He reminds you a lot of this one in the video game. David Hasselhoff, but wouldn't he be too old? Because Samuel Jackson might be old, but his portrayal of Nick Fury seems like he's in good conditioning. And I assume Hasselhoff is a little off with, I don't know if he keeps up with himself, or, you know. I'm still holding to Josh Brolin. I think he could do a good job. You know? Let me check something right here while this goes.
Another setback. But we're close.
Oh, he did?
Is anyone hurt?
No, it was all my fault. The energy levels exceeded our expectations. From a certain point, it's a very positive development.
It doesn't smell very positive.
I'm sure you in the next phase.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Is there somewhere else we can discuss this?
Maybe you should take the rest of the day off, Peter. But we'll talk later.
Damn it. Hold on a second. I'm answering another phone call. Give me a minute.
a disaster. How could the dampener have failed? I know Doc said take the day off, but I have to figure out what went wrong. Oh, you are in bad shape, little guy.
Anyway.
Let's see what's wrong with you.
Oh shit. Another thing that I like they did in this movie is Spider-Man and his decision making. Okay, here's the thing. Spoiler warning. The Green Goblin kills Aunt May. That was a shock.
Circuit burned out. Damn it. If I had been here to do the preaching, I would have caught this.
That's what he did. Let me concentrate real quick on this because I hate doing these things. Puzzles.
Got it. Okay, need to reroute server control. Nice. Okay, next. Now rebalance the voltage.
Let me see here. There's actually the Phantom Menace again. Now, also, yeah, here's the thing. The Phantom Menace was hoping this movie'd fail so it could meet their anti-Marvel agenda. And I'm like, these guys just need to stop. A Spider-Man movie destroyed their whole ideology, and they just can't accept it.
Finished. Let's see if that worked. What is new? Doc's been testing new materials for the prosthetics. He asked me to review his work if I had time. Might as well dig in now. I think we've got samples of every type of prosthetic in existence. Doc was testing new
I also feel bad about Happy and Aunt May because Happy was dating her in the movie. They were having, I guess, a relationship at some point, and they called it off. I feel bad for him because when she died, it hit him too.
hydrogel polymer composite. Strong, but there's a lot of impedance. Better tell Doc to keep looking for other materials. Alright. I should get out of here before I screw things up for Doc.
Believe it or not, you know it's also like here's the thing. I want to tell you one thing about the fight scene. This is a kicker. I just had to sit back and think about it because I'm trying to remember something that was important. Willem Dafoe beat the fuck out of Tom Holland in an apartment building. Goblin beat the shit out of him. You hear the tone of my voice, Keith? How I just accelerated? Goblin beat the fuck out of Tom Holland in the first fight of the Goblin versus Spider-Man. He beat the shit out of him before killing Aunt May. I was like, God damn. Goblin must be a fan of the fucking WWE. He was powerbombing little boy throughout the walls and the ceiling and the fucking floor.
Spider-Man, it's Yuri.
Kids make it to Rikers yet?
Not Rikers. Our boy qualifies for the VIP treatment. He's in the raft.
Ah, joining Scorpion, Electro, and the rest. This should be honored. That's a steamed company.
Can you swing by the precinct? Got an issue that could benefit from your unique skill set.
For you, Yuri, anything. I'm on my way.
And he tanks the punch. Yeah, yo, Defoe can fucking tank a punch like it was nothing.
Wonder what my number one fan thinks about the fist tank.
Fucking William Dafoe's Goblin took punch after punch and he could not be brought down. That just shows how malicious the fucking Goblin really, like, the Goblin will always be, I believe it's between him and Heath Ledger's Joker on who's truly the better villain. That's real, like, that's something that I even have to think about, like, how in the fuck could you bring over a character that's very what's it called? Like, I like the joke that when he was brought over, fucking Tom Holland told Doctor Strange, he's like, yeah, some green armored elf. And then Doctor Strange, well, he sounds jolly, we need to round these guys up. I was like, yeah, that green elf could commit an ass whooping. Like, all the villains got closure, and that was the thing. Like, how would you hit the top villains like this with, what is it? You know, they each get closure, and it's a shock that they got it right.
No balls were anyway. We spent too much integrating Oscorp surveillance tech.
Worth it though, right?
It was. Till an hour. System. Citywide. Every tower. Tell me someone sabotaged the central server, and now all the towers are offline.
Inside job?
Maybe. We'll figure it out later. Right now, we need to get the towers back on. Fast.
And you called me? Aw, that's cute.
I called someone I can trust. Plus, the signals are scrambled, and we have no idea how to fix it.
The funniest shit is when the villains do interact with each other. It's like, you can tell it would be hard for these guys to work together as a Sinister Six because they all have their own goals and ambitions, like all villains.
Let's take a look at this tower. Input bands have been shifted. Subtle.
I think the way you gotta watch it is watch just Goblin is a straight up goon. Yeah, he's a fucking goon. A fucking goon, like a motherfucker. He is a goon. What you gotta, I think what really people gotta understand about this movie is, I think you should just go back and watch the 3 Raimi films, the Andrew duology, and these three Holland films, and it would feel pretty good to sit through all those Spider-Man movies. I mean, the theater fucking erupted when they all showed up in the movie. I think it's better than everybody showing up for Endgame. Oh, Venom 2 as well. Venom, the symbiote, stayed in our universe, in the MCU.
Okay, wrapped up.
Thanks for that. Now I'm seeing an assault near you.
You're in luck, Yuri. Your favorite tough but lovable grizzled seen too much detective is in town.
What? No. You promised you wouldn't do that any...
Spider Cop.
I really wish that though. I really wish that they will continue with the other universe's Spider-Man's worlds, especially Andrews. He deserves it. In this movie, he proved that he deserves the mask more than anything. It's a shock, and I think it's more so a redemption for him, and that's what this movie needed. He needed a redemption because, as much as I like the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, I don't hate them like people do, you know, because I can see what universe they're based on, you know. But people will just say it's bad for the sake of saying it's bad, you know, i.e. fandom ministers. I already know their new attack. They're gonna try to attack the Matrix, but that's besides the point. Of course it's better. No Captain Marvel. Yeah, definitely no fucking Captain Marvel in the movie either, of course. Fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch, big time.
All clear, man.
She didn't deserve to be in the movie at all.
Something was wrong about you. You're a little weird, but you got a good heart.
Have you got somewhere to go?
I can take care of myself.
I'm sure you can, but just in case, there's a place called the Feast Center.
Seen it.
The one thing that I like in the theater, I looked over because in the theater there was this lady that got mad emotional.
Haven't had any long
And I
time.
was like, yeah, I could tell this lady must have been a fan of Garfield's just as much, because when
Spider.
when Goblin comes in, because Goblin tries to make a final attack on the group to prevent them from being sent back. What's it called? He sends Zendaya's version of MJ off the roof. And like off the scaffolding, and when she flies down, he catches Holland before Holland could catch her. Then Andrew's Spider-Man dives because he fucking knows, like you could tell in his eyes, his Peter Parker had PTSD from what happened to Gwen Stacy. And then when he saves her, he got like, you know, his Peter Parker got emotional because he couldn't do that for her, and he talked about it, and it's great to see them talk about their the people they've lost and saved, because they've lost the same people basically, just different universe. Yeah, you should have kept her on. They should have kept her on Skull Island with Kong where she belonged, but you know they're not gonna do that. So I got a bunch of friends who are still trying to go see the movie. You know, we were lucky. When we saw it Friday night, I saw it on a curved screen in IMAX in the front row on a lounge chair, nonetheless. That shit was comfortable, and I had a ton of food and everything. I was prepared.
I attached tracking dots to
I also kind of did smoke some weed before I watched the movie, but that's besides the point.
how many of these are scattered around.
You know?
Still there? Got a robbery a few blocks away.
Spider Cop's on it. Part man, part spider, all cop.
Brie Larson just needs to keep her ass out of everything Marvel, but they won't do that. Like, if at all.
More of them? Guys, if you worked this hard at a legit job, you wouldn't need to be criminals. downtown tower now.
Don't you think Spider Cop's gonna repair it?
Been doing a little thinking, Yuri. Policing's a young man's game. And Spider Cop, well, he's no spring chicken.
Please be going where I think you're going.
As of today,
Oh my god, this is why I can't wait to play it on my PS5 when I get one, hopefully for my birthday.
Spider Cop's tireless. Yuri? Yuri, you there? I guess the emotion of a moment overwhelmed her.
There you go. Damn it. Is it? I can't believe, like, my favorite. Here's, I'm gonna show you guys right now. Actually, the suits in this game, the one that Tom Holland gets at the end of Far From. What's it called? From No Way Home. Let me change it so you guys can know which one. He actually creates this suit at the end of the movie, which is, I'm like, wait, what? He created that suit of all suits, the original? Because think about it, he no longer has Stark Tech. That's something that he also had to give up in order to keep going. So he became just regular Spider-Man. So seeing this suit was actually cool when it in live action, even though you barely see it because it's shot at night, like almost all Spider-Man finale swings.
Should I head back to the lab for cleanup?
No, I'm stepping out for dinner anyhow. We'll resume tomorrow. Short break, then back to creating the future.
Wish I could bottle and sell that man's optimism. Sounds like he's left the lab for the day. Good time to work on my suit in private.
Oh, it said my chat disconnected. Keith, are you still there?
Got an algorithm in the suit that can extrapolate where the kidnappers might have gone.
Okay, there you go. I was just wondering because for some reason it said that it said chat disconnected. Please wait to reconnect. And I'm like, wait, what? Why would it do that? Hopefully when Keo watches the movie, because Keo and I are originally supposed to talk about it too, because he, that's a movie, the only Marvel movie he was looking forward to. And we gotta destroy Young Defiant's video on Spider-Man again, because his opinions are trash most of the time. And I hate having to keep beating a dead dog. But sometimes you got to. It was, yeah, M64 Bros. Yes, it was. It was a surprising masterpiece. The only one, believe it or not, it's like it goes neck and neck with original Spider-Man 2, when it comes to like character and the way things are handled. It really shows how much this time they really went into the character of Spider-Man himself. I love that this is the suit that Tom Holland, this suit right here that I'm wearing, the classic suit, this is the suit he builds at the end of the movie. And I can't wait to actually see it in live action. Like, I want to see that whole suit in live action. I liked it better than Avengers. Even though I liked Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, I can admit that. This is how you do a crossover more effectively. It built on what came before, and it gave everybody something all around the board. It gave something for each fan. And that's the important part, the fans. It gave Spider-Man fans what they wanted. This is about as a Spider-Man movie as you're gonna get. And believe it or not, this does a lot of the same things that Spider-Man, even Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 do. The overabundance of villains. I always said the joke that people would let Marvel get away with let's say having a lot of villains in a movie without explanation, but let anyone outside of Marvel do it, fans want to bitch and complain. Like, that's one thing I've always like said for a long time. That's why I can't take a lot of things seriously when I hear about it, but I only know to take what's enough. Believe it or not, I like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, unlike most people. When you look at it, that's like the most comic booky of the Spider-Man movies, because it feels like an episode of the cartoon. You have Spider-Man and you have an abundance of villains going after him. Like, I want to see Tom Holland do shit like this. You know, crazy ass maneuvers like this in a movie. Which I noticed that a lot of like, one of my most favorite parts of the film is when they're encouraging each other in the field, you know, fighting in the field against the villains. At first they can't synchronize, and Tom Holland's the only one who's actually ever been on a team. But then when they get the motivation, it's like they all move they move perfectly. Like that swing they did, when you see it in the trailer where Tom Holland looks like he's the only one swinging towards the villains. But here, it's obviously what it was going to be. 3 Spider-Men charging at the villains, because you could just tell that they were trying to edit them out. But seeing that moment, even though we saw it in the trailer, seeing it elevated by the other 2 Spider-Men is what made it feel more fresh. It's like they need to give all these people a second chance. Don't listen to people like Comic Book Cast saying, oh, the people that only want that are in the minority because I'm the comic book expert. I know everything. Yo, I can't even do my job right. Yo. Yeah, people like that don't listen to Sony or Disney when it comes to telling you how to do your sequels. especially when it comes to Spider-Man. Because that's the prime example of, oh, I need to do what I think is best for Spider-Man, not what I think is realistic for everybody. Basically. That's how those guys work. Like, there goes the Avengers Towers right there. I wonder if they acknowledge it in Spider-Man 2, the video game. At least turn on these towers. How many more? There's one right there, and there's one right there.
Would you look at that? Half the crime towers back up already.
When Spider Cop's on the job, come hell or high water, the job gets...
Nope, nope, nope. Nope.
She'd never admit it, but the chief was warming up to Spider Cop. His casual disregard for by the book thinking was a breath of fresh air. She'd come around someday.
There we go. Central Park. What's funny is the Sanctum Sanctorum is in this game too, but I just forgot where. What is that? Yeah, I fucking love that joke. It's like, I've been with the Avengers. That's great. What is that? I'm like, that's true. How the hell are they gonna know? Because in their universe, they're the only hero. Like, can you imagine if Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man had met early 2000s Logan, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine? Which that was originally going to be in the cards, I heard. I would have been cool with that. If the Raimi sequels would have kept going. It's like what a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of like these comic book channels to claim that they know what's best or that they should do this for comic book films. Right now, you have a fan base for both Raimi, Holland, and Andrew. Make sequels in their universes with the actors returning, and then cap off each couple films with a crossover. Come up with a way for them to travel between each other's worlds, like into the Spider-Verse or Shattered Dimensions. You know? Can you imagine the impact that would have if we were getting a different Spider-Man movie, at least one after another? Seriously, people, there's certain things that they know that people will give you, but then they'll give you something else, which is why I'm not even optimistic about that, Deadpool and Wolverine. Because for a movie that could be so simple, knowing them, they'd complicate it. And I like that they acknowledged that Andrew's Spider-Man really became a rage-filled hero, because after the death of Gwen, he might have been Spider-Man again, but he said when he stopped pulling his punches, he started to hurt his villains for real. Like, he was like, okay, I mean, it's true. He really didn't have anything to lose, because we don't know if May in his universe is okay. You know, time has passed with them. But the fact that we see Aunt May actually die in a film by the Goblin, this is what you'd imagine how the way Tom Holland gets his revenge, I mean, he doesn't kill him. He beats the fuck out of the Green Goblin. And I'm like this, yeah, you do not play with a young man's emotions, especially when it comes to the ladies in a family. They will bring you either to death or to the point of death. You know? I'm just going in one massive circle, turning on all these towers before I go to Octavius's lab. See, because right now there's also a lot, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with Spider-Man. Like, I can't wait to Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse 2. That's going to be something. That is a movie where they should include these guys in it as well. Like, draw them. Or do a live-action Shattered Dimensions. Can you imagine that shit? If one of the, let's say, a sequel to this movie, like a sequel that has all the Spider-Men in it again, and they did something along the lines of Shattered Dimensions in live action. Damn, threw my swing off.
Someone inside that. Everyone's safe. I should let fire and rescue do their jobs.
I kind of wish, I hope they introduced Black Cat and Silver Sable, because it's about time we see a sexy Black Cat on screen. I mean, there's 3 versions of Black Cat that will never be defeated in my eyes, in terms of portrayal. Spider-Man PS2. Spider-Man on the PS2. Spider-Man 2 PS2. The one from Web of Shadows and the one from this game. Those 3 versions embody Black Cat perfectly. And Silver Sable. I want to see Silver Sable too. Shit, I'd smash Silver Sable. People think not. I'm like, why not? Have you seen Silver Sable?
Vintage crime stopping right there.
There we go. Got this one. Hell's Kitchen. Daredevil territory. Stay out of Hell's Kitchen. Am I missing something? Oh. Yes, I was. There they are.
Available unit. Possible narcotic fear reported. Incident is active near Longacre. Over.
It's like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers can't even praise the movie without bringing up anything racial about it. Like, the dude on Twitter, he's on Twitter, he's a fucking idiot. I mean, most of them are, but damn. Can't help stupid people, you know? Especially stupid fandom menacers.
And that's that. Every crime tower in the city's now repaired.
Pretty good work, right?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Good enough that maybe you'd let a certain someone celebrate with us?
Fine. But make it quick.
The odds were long, the danger close. But between Spider Cop's reckless
Jeremy from the Quartering starts fights on Twitter. No shit. He starts everything on Twitter. Like, Young Ripper 59, he says, I won't do a review on No Way Home. Why? Because he doesn't want to eat crow.
time to sneak in some spider work.
I just noticed these guys don't like to eat crow. So they'll let something, you know, slip, or they'll be passive aggressive about it.
He's always been upstaged, usually by Oscorp. This time, Parker! Dr. Octavius, what you got there?
Chinese. If I know you'd be here, I would. What are you working on?
Oh, just a side project.
Of course. It's you.
It's obvious. Let me explain.
I only wish you told me sooner.
I wanted to. But I was afraid that if word got out, my family would be in danger.
Oh. Yes. I guess if you design his equipment, you're bound to be a target too.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Your secret's safe. Well, I'll leave you to it.
That should do it.
Power on, but light. Bluetooth pairing mode. Connected successfully.
USAA is made.
I know that track is universal. That could work because it worked in this movie. They used it, and they used Andrews. Speaking of which,
Dang, looks like they...
Wait, what? Okay. To hell with them. Plain and simple. They don't speak for no fans other than themselves.
Crawling through the night, facing evil with his might. He's a hero in our eyes. See the headlights every time. Making villains fall, webbing rivals to a home. Racing up and down the walls, bringing justice to us all. Spectacular, 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 spectacular. Spectacular, 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 spectacular.
Oh, you did? That's awesome.
Power off.
Oh. I mean, the Punisher logo is still a skull. I mean... I just looked at it. It's not really that big of a deal.
Hey, Mark, so sorry I'm late. You're right on time. Just keep me distracted. You got it. Hey, there's my favorite aunt.
Peter, what a nice surprise.
Need some help?
Yeah, sure. Oh, there are some heavy boxes.
No. I mean, not yet. I mean, I came to, I just wanted to talk.
Okay.
Peter, are you in trouble? Do you need money?
No, I mean, I'm a little behind on my rent, but no.
Girl problems again, huh?
What? No, that's great.
I still wish you and MJ could work things out. She's a great girl.
She is.
The two of you would make some beautiful babies.
Arcade's Outpost would reply, "It's the woke bomb."
Peter,
You know what's funny? Those people can't live without woke culture. They wouldn't exist. So what would happen if all that stuff goes away like they wanted to? Their channels would dwindle into insignificance because none of them are entertaining to hold them shits on their own.
So much. And it's good for nothing. I just wish there were more people who killed him. He's right. 5 years ago, you walked in here and told me you were inspired by my mission. Now it's you who inspires me. Thank you forever. Here's for many more years of service. Thanks again for setting all this up. I just wish I could do more. Well, May's always told me if you help someone, you help everyone. Yeah, maybe we should send May to City Hall and have her work from there. I gotta run. Thanks again for the party and everything. It really means a lot.
It's like, cause you notice. See, I was waiting to see what Geeks and Gamers did, but Geeks and Gamers can't praise something without bringing race into it. And Young Ripper just says he won't review the film. I was like, these people just don't like to eat crow. And they'll go to any means to do so, to not look bad. And guess what? The game's not gonna get canceled, because if that was the case, it'd get canceled already. So those people can just suck it. Seriously. It hasn't even been 2 fucking weeks. I don't care if one person's a piece of crap. I just care if the game's good or not.
Voicemail from Yuri.
Hey, silent alarm at the auction house holding Fisk's estate sale just tripped. Could you check it out? Quietly? I don't want to make a scene if it's nothing.
Fisk estate sale. Sounds fun. Wonder what the kingpin.
Hello there, Goldo, I believe. It says Goldo TV permanent. Oh, yeah, hi. I'm surprised the Phantom Menace hasn't crapped on it yet. They hate the High Republic. And the problem is, when they say something's bad, it's actually good. Because they themselves have no taste in anything. I mean, they've admitted to not reading anything of it. So how are they judging it and reviewing it?
Had to get to the lab. Sorry.
Don't apologize. I just wanted to tell you how much what you said meant to me. I always wondered.
Seriously, these people don't know anything. They can't tell the difference.
There's someone else here. They must have taken it.
Those masks. Who are these guys?
There's no one here but us. We will find the file, or you will die.
It's bad. They'll kill her if I alert them. Need to pick them off silently. Yuri, the silent alarm is legit. Masked gunman and a single hostage. Looks like a heist in progress.
Copy that. Sending units your way. Keep the situation from getting worse in the meantime.
Can do. Gotta do this quietly. Don't want to alert the others. This looks so cozy lit up like that. Should weapon from above.
No, it is. I feel he finally grew into the character, and I do look forward to seeing him play Spider-Man more. I just think it was weird seeing that it took someone that they had to grow into being the character, where it took like one film. Actually, I would say it took 2 films for Tobey Maguire to establish himself as Spider-Man. That was Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2.
The file's in here. I swear. They must have the file.
If they're here, where are... Yo, Kyla!
I think it was also a great redemption and send-off for the other two. Like, one got the proper, like, Toby got the proper send-off. Andrew got the redemption, and Holland got the growth.
Buddy, if I had a nickel for every don't move.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got what he needed.
MJ, what are you doing here? Same as you. Working. At least, it was.
Oh, I think this is yours.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Robbie's got you covering a break-in for the Bugle?
Well, Robbie doesn't technically know I'm here. And it wasn't a break-in until a few minutes ago.
Huh?
Let me explain.
I'm not fond of her sections, that's all I'm saying. Let me manually save it right here. Okay. Because I got some stuff to do, but some friends of mine are going to watch the movie themselves. So if you guys want to see a second part of talking about Spider-Man, let me know. But yeah, one of Kage's gonna go see it. Hopefully Kiyo's gonna go see it. A couple of others, so that means we can each talk about our different aspects of it. You know, me, I enjoyed the film for what it was. This initially was gonna be a review, but I just had a couple more things I had to say outside the video. And yeah, Spider-Man: No Way Home. It's a Spider-Man film, if not one of the closest to getting the character down packed, which you would think would be difficult to do, but no. This is a well-done movie, and it deserves all the praise that it's getting. Now again, ignore anything the Fandom Menace says, and ignore anything that woke critics say, and you should be in for yourself for a good time, because this is a movie that this is what happens when you don't put forced diversity in politics, and just focus on character and story. This is what you get. You know, you don't have to emphasize race. You don't have to do any of that. You know, we deserve to have a Spider-Man movie like this, and the other two, Toby and Andrew, deserve more. They deserve another chance to be on screen other than this. I want to see them again. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you on the next stream. See you later.